ribs. Come onto the knees. Extend the arms forward. Balance the weight across your hands, so draw the wrists to level. Bring weight towards the index finger and the thumb. And just make a little bit of effort to broaden your collarbones and broaden your shoulder blades. And now let's start to find the area of the front ribs and draw them back towards the upper thighs without moving your arms. So the arms stay in a fixed position. The arms hold strong to the midline by drawing in. So as soon as you start to lift the front ribs and pull them back towards the upper thighs, what do you feel happening in the armpit area? It starts to open, which is sort of telling us on the top end from the shoulder blades, what are they doing? They're moving into the back and helping to create that. And in the process of moving into the back in that way, then the thoracic spine is also being engaged as if the arms are over the head. And so then independent of your arms, your shoulder blades, your collarbones broadening, now start to feel two things in the spine. So as you sink the weight of the hips towards the heels, that's the tailbone going back. But now at the same time, without changing anything in the arms, let the crown of the head actually move forward. So that the crown and the tail are being drawn away from each other. The shoulder blades are engaged at the back, the front ribs are connected and moving in. And we allow the spine to lengthen in both directions. And so now with the crown of the head moving forward, think of what the chin is doing as being the same as the front ribs. The front ribs are connecting towards the upper thigh, and in the process, the arms staying in a fixed position when the armpit is opening. But resting on the forehead, keep the chin connected to the chest. Now without losing this movement of the front ribs towards the upper thigh, from your mid-sternum, let it start to open towards your chin. So the front ribs are activated, but the sternum is lifting. And in the process of it lifting, it's drawing the thoracic spine in, and then moving into extension, and then we're starting to get the same effect as if we were overhead. And just slide the hands back and we'll come to an upright position. Does that make any sense? So with the arms in a fixed position, like it would be in a handstand, if we start to connect from the core without any change in the arm, it actually takes the shoulder blade deeper into the back, which is what we want. Whereas if we don't have this piece, we won't get this piece either. So these two pieces are actually connected towards each other. Okay, so we want to keep this connected towards our lower body again. The psoas and the diaphragm are both benefiting from this connection, which means that not only will we be lifting the front of our body, we're actually lifting the back and the front of our body equally. You feel that? So we don't have this piece here, and the back collapses, and the front of the body is lengthening, and this is why a lot of us get deceived in downward dog. Oh, I'm so open. The trouble is I'm kind of like collapsed, and my shoulder blade is collapsing into the back. It's moved beyond strong now to being like, severed. And because we've lost all of this, then we've lost the fullness of the breath, and we've lost this ability to extend the psoas and maintain. Right? So it's really the same pose, but we need to translate the actions a little bit. And then because of the position of it, we have to shift our awareness. So let's try this in downward dog. And let's actually just touch on all the same pieces. So we'll curl the toes under. And slowly start to press your heels back. So let's start with a balance of weight in the hands, bringing weight to the inner edge of your hands. We'll actually lift the outer part of the wrist. And from this point, it gives us an arm position. So then rather than trying to rotate your arms down, just accept the position. But from the upper arms, start to draw in so that the arms are straight. And then with the arms straight, see if we can create a little space beside the neck by broadening the collarbones. And then find the energy of the front ribs and just feel, what are they doing? Is that energy actually being utilized, or is it just being released towards the floor? So now just try and direct it. Try and find your upper thighs and just use that as a destination. And by drawing towards the upper thighs with the arms in a fixed position, then we should start to feel that opening to the armpit. Keep the back of the neck long. So it's a good practice. Just keep the ears between the upper arms initially. And feel that the strength of the legs is the lowest part of your spine stabilized. Keeping the collarbones broad and the arms straight. Let the crown of the head release. And for a lot of you, this will release tension in the shoulders at the same time. Now keep the chin connected to the chest just the same way that the front ribs are connected towards the upper thighs. And see if from the mid part of your thoracic, which is on the other side of your body is your sternum, without letting your ribs fall, is there any more extension available towards the chin? And again, that will result in the thoracic spine being activated. Now let's just go back to the legs for a moment, and let's do the same piece that we would do if we were standing, which is to connect the front pelvic bones with the front ribs and stabilize that area so that as you lift the front pelvic bone, say the side bone. The sitting bones drop and the weight starts to shift to the heels. We try and do that without losing the movement of the upper spine through the upper thighs. And then we just come down onto the knees. So everything that I'm sort of describing are all the pieces that we've been talking about, but now taken to an inverted position. So again, every time the position changes, it feels like all of the actions are changing and it's not the same pose anymore. But what I find is that if I can really follow all of these things through, then they're equally beneficial and all the same results come as a result of it. What I'm really interested in right now is not about how you teach this pose, but how you feel it and you practice it. Because I've always felt that it's the creativity of the teacher. But first of all, I think that they need to understand what it is that they're actually teaching. Because I also find at this point, there's a lot of instructions that are going on out there in the world. And, you know, we're just kind of like, it's just imitation, you know. Well, I heard this, so I'm going to say that. I haven't actually thought the process through. What I found in terms of my instruction, at least my intent, is that I want to make sure, even if nobody gets it, but in my own mind, I'm being as clear as possible, just describing what it is that I'm actually doing. And as a result, it's caused me to change almost all of my instructions from the original ones that I was given. You know? Because I think at a certain point I'm going, well, I'm not actually doing that. Why am I saying this? You know? And again, it's like it's the buzzword, you know? And because we have to know when we're teaching instructions to a room of people, you know, we want to reach the many. It's the best we can hope for, you know. You can't start tailoring all of your instructions for one person over in the back corner. But what you can do is go to that person and adjust them separately from the instructions that you're given, knowing the whole time you're going to have to do that anyway. And so if we try and have that one-size-fits-all in terms of instruction, we'll drive ourselves nuts. And we won't be able to do it. We have to accept that it's a compromise. But we still have other options available to us. Sometimes it's even at the end of class, as they say, look, talk to somebody, you know. Why don't you try this? You might find this helpful. But usually I will spot the trouble spots and I'll go and address them separately the rest of the class.